So is AI music real art? Or is it just a super high-tech magic trick? That's the question sparking this massive, kind of heated debate online and in the music world right now. In this explainer, we're going to dive deep into the arguments, the history, and what this all really means for the future of creativity. So, this whole conversation pretty much blew up because of one simple analogy. It came from a Reddit post by a musician, someone who's been doing this their whole life, and it's all about a cake. Here's the argument from someone with 25 years of experience. They say using an AI music tool is just like ordering a custom cake, right? You can tell the baker what flavor you want, what to write on it, but you didn't bake it. The AI is the baker, doing all the real work. So can you honestly go around telling people you made the song? And that simple question, man, that gets right to the absolute heart of this whole debate. When you're using AI, are you the artist, the baker, or are you just the customer putting in an order? As you can probably guess, this question kicked off some incredibly passionate responses. You know, what's so fascinating is how many people in this debate feel a real sense of déjà vu. This whole idea of a new technology being called fake or not real art, well, it's a story we've heard a few times before. I mean, think about it. Back in the 70s, synthesizers were slammed for not being real instruments. Then in the 80s, drum machines were called soulless. In the 90s, if you used digital software instead of tape, you weren't a real producer. And of course, we all remember the firestorm around auto-tune. It really seems like every big technological leap gets called cheating at first.
And that's exactly what this user is saying. Tools that were once totally dismissed, like the software Fruity Loops, are now used to win Grammy Awards. For a lot of folks, AI is just the next logical step in this long evolution of musical tools.
Okay, so this brings us to the biggest counter-argument to that whole cake analogy, and it's that the analogy is just too simple, that it completely misses the actual creative process that's involved. For many people using AI, it is so much more than just typing a prompt.
Remember, that original argument was that creating AI music takes virtually zero talent or skill. You just type a prompt, hit a button, and boom. But is that what's really happening?
In reality, the process often looks a lot more like this. Creators aren't just hitting a button one time. They're writing their own lyrics, generating dozens, sometimes hundreds, of different musical clips, and then painstakingly sifting through all of them. They edit, they splice, they rearrange the best parts, and then they import all of that into traditional software for mixing and mastering. From this perspective, you're not a customer, you're the creative director.
So it really boils down to this. Is the user a customer who just gives one instruction and takes whatever comes out, or are they more like a baker or a producer, guiding the entire process, making hundreds of tiny aesthetic choices and shaping that final track from raw, AI-generated material? How you answer that pretty much changes how you see the art itself. All right, let's zoom out for a second, because this isn't just some philosophical argument happening on Reddit. This whole debate has massive, real-world financial consequences for the entire music industry. We're talking big money. A recent global economic study is forecasting absolutely explosive growth in this market. Just look at this number. The generative AI industry is projected to leap from 3 billion euros today to a staggering 64 billion by 2028. That's not just growth, that's an explosion. And a whole lot of that is pointed straight at the music industry.
And here's where it really starts to hit home. The report predicts that in just a few years, AI-generated music could make up 20% of revenue on streaming platforms and an unbelievable 60% of revenue from music libraries. The stuff used in ads and movies.
But here's the kicker. This is the part of the report that has everyone really worried. It warns that this growth isn't new money magically appearing. Instead, it's a direct transfer of economic value. That value is moving from the pockets of human creators who could lose a quarter of their income and going directly to the big tech companies that are developing the AI.
And that threat is exactly why you're hearing music icons like ABBA's Bjorn Ulvaeus sounding the alarm. He's calling for urgent policy changes to protect artists, saying that without the right rules, AI could cause great damage to the careers and livelihoods of actual human creators. So with all of this in mind, the history, the process, the economics, we circle right back to that central, still unanswered question that's at the heart of this entire debate. One of the most powerful arguments that came out of this whole discussion was this really simple definition. If art is just a series of decisions, and a human is meticulously making those decisions, which prompt to use, which clip to keep, how to edit them all together,
then isn't that art, no matter what tool you're using?
And this is a comparison you hear a lot. We don't say the camera makes the photograph. We credit the photographer. A piano doesn't write the sonata, the composer does. A digital audio workstation is an incredibly complex piece of software, but we still credit the producer. So the big question is an AI model just another sophisticated tool in that long line?
And maybe the most profound argument of all is the human one. One user shared this story, that for him, these tools weren't about replacing skill, but about unlocking something that was trapped inside him. It gave him an outlet for expression that he never had before, and it helped lift a lifelong depression. For people like him, this isn't about technology. It's about finally finding a voice.
And ultimately, that's what this entire debate is forcing us all to confront. As our tools get smarter and smarter, the lines just get blurrier. This technology is pushing us to ask some really huge questions, not just about what it means to be a musician, but about where that human spark of creativity really lives, and what it truly means to be an artist at all.